When my sister knocked on my door with a suitcase and that familiar, we're family smile, I never imagined I'd be transformed into an unpaid maid, babysitter, and ATM machine. But the real shock came when I finally stood up for myself, and she accused me of crimes so heinous they could have destroyed my entire life. Everything should have ruined me. If I hadn't been smart enough to flip the entire game board. My name is Amanda, and I am 34 years old. I work as a software engineer for Zenith Secure Tech, a company that specializes in AI-powered smart home security systems. It's the kind of job that lets me work from home, set my own hours, and actually enjoy what I do. After years of grinding through startups and climbing the corporate ladder, I'd finally reached a place where I could breathe. The stock options had vested nicely. The salary was more than comfortable, and I'd managed to save enough for a down payment on my dream home. The house sits in a quiet suburb just outside Seattle. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a proper home office, and a backyard that backs up to a small grove of evergreens. When I signed those papers 6 months ago, I felt like I'd finally made it. This was my sanctuary. My reward for all those late nights debugging code and surviving on energy drinks and takeout. I'd installed a state-of-the-art security system throughout the property, cameras in every common area, motion sensors, the works. Call it paranoid if you want. But I liked knowing my space was secure. I never mentioned the cameras to my family, though. They already thought I was too uptight about my privacy. Living alone suited me perfectly. I had my routines, my spaces arranged exactly how I wanted them, my office with its dual monitors and ergonomic setup, my kitchen organized with labeled containers and meal prep stations. Even my living room was carefully curated, with bookshelves arranged by genre and an entertainment system that responded to voice commands. Some people might call it sterile or overly controlled, but to me, it was peace. The call came on a Tuesday evening in March. I was in the middle of reviewing code for a new facial recognition feature when my phone buzzed with Monica's ringtone. My older sister, 36 years old, mother of 2, and recently divorced. We'd never been particularly close, but we maintained the obligatory holiday visits and birthday phone calls that kept our parents happy. Amanda, honey, I need to talk to you about something. Her voice had that particular quality that immediately put me on alert, the same tone she'd used when she needed to borrow money for her wedding, or when she'd crashed Dad's car in college. What's wrong, Monica? The divorce is final. Craig got the house. A pause, then the sound of what might have been a sniffle. The kids and I need somewhere to stay, just for a few days while I figure things out. I closed my eyes, already seeing where this was heading. Monica. Please, Amanda. You have all that space, and we won't be any trouble. The boys are so excited to see their Aunt Amanda. You know how much they love you. The boys? Alex, 8 years old with Monica's stubborn chin and Craig's sandy hair. Ben, 5, all energy and gap-toothed grins. I'd seen them exactly 4 times in the past year. But Monica always played up how close we were when she needed something. How long are we talking about? Just a few days, a week at most. I have some job interviews lined up, and I'm looking at apartments. I just need a little breathing room to get everything sorted. I stared at my code, watching the cursor blink. Every instinct told me this was a bad idea. But what was I supposed to say? Sorry, sis, you and your kids can sleep in your car. Fine, a week, but Monica, I work from home. I need quiet during business hours. Of course you won't even know we're there. Thank you so much, Amanda. You're literally saving our lives. She showed up the next evening with significantly more than overnight bags. I watched from my doorway as she unloaded box after box from her minivan. Toys, clothes, what looked like an entire kitchen's worth of small appliances. Ben came running up the walkway, launching himself at my legs. Aunt Manda Mom says we're having a sleepover. Alex followed more slowly, earbuds in, dragging a hockey bag behind him. Monica brought up the rear, balancing a lamp, a jewelry box, and what appeared to be a small filing cabinet. This looks like more than a week's worth of stuff, I said, trying to keep my voice neutral. Monica's laugh was too bright. Oh, you know me. I always overpack. Better to have too much than too little. Right. I helped them carry everything inside, my unease growing with each trip. By the time we were done, the guest room looked like a storage unit, and toys had already begun migrating into the hallway. Boys, let's keep everything in your room. Okay? I said, gathering up action figures and Lego pieces. Mom said we could play wherever we want since we're family, Ben announced, dumping out another box of toys in the living room. I looked at Monica, who was busy setting up some kind of essential oil diffuser on my coffee table. Monica, we need to talk about boundaries. Oh, don't be such a worrywart. Boys will be boys. You were a kid once too, remember? She plugged in the diffuser, and immediately the room filled with a cloying lavender scent that made my eyes water. There, doesn't that smell amazing? So much better than all those electronics. That first night set the tone for everything that followed. The boys were wound up from the move, running through the house until well past their bedtime. Monica made no effort to calm them down, instead sitting on my couch with a glass of wine, scrolling through her phone. Shouldn't they be in bed? I finally asked at 10:30, after Ben had knocked over a stack of work documents I'd been reviewing. They're just excited, new place and all. They'll crash soon enough. She didn't even look up from her phone. By the time they finally fell asleep, sprawled across the living room floor instead of in their beds, it was past midnight. I had a client meeting at 8 the next morning, and my head was pounding from the noise and that damn lavender smell. Monica, we need to establish some ground rules, I said, sitting down across from her. She finally looked up, her expression already defensive. Ground rules, Amanda. We're not tenants. We're family. I know, but I work from home. I need quiet during the day, and the boys need a regular bedtime. God, you sound just like Craig. Rules, rules, rules. No wonder you're still single. The comment stung, but I pushed past it. This is my home, Monica. I'm happy to help, but I need you to respect that. She rolled her eyes but nodded. Fine, whatever. We'll be quiet as mice. The next morning, I woke to the sound of cartoons blaring from the living room TV and the smell of something burning in the kitchen. I found Monica attempting to make pancakes while simultaneously doing something on her phone, the smoke alarm shrieking overhead. Sorry, she called out, not looking sorry at all. I'm not used to your stove. The boys were hungry. I disconnected the smoke alarm and opened windows, trying to air out the smoke. I have a meeting in 30 minutes. Oh, that's perfect. I have a job interview this morning. You can watch the boys. I stared at her. What no, Monica, I have to work. It's just a Zoom meeting, right? They can watch TV or something. Please, Amanda. This job could change everything for us. And that's how I found myself trying to present quarterly security analytics while Ben performed what he called his ninja moves in the background. And Alex complained loudly about the Wi-Fi being too slow for his games. Is everything all right? Amanda. My project manager asked, his face concerned on the screen. It sounds busy there. Just some temporary family situations, I said, forcing a smile while gesturing frantically at the boys to be quiet. It won't happen again. But it did happen again. And again. Monica's job interview turned into a shopping trip that lasted 4 hours. When she finally returned, laden with bags from Target and Starbucks, she was full of excuses. The interview got rescheduled, and I figured since I was out anyway, I might as well pick up some things for the boys. They're growing so fast, you know. Oh, and I got you a coffee extra shot, just how you like it. She didn't know how I liked my coffee. The gesture was empty, designed to deflect from the fact that I'd missed half my workday dealing with her children. Monica, this can't happen again. I'm not a babysitter. Oh my God, they're your nephews. I thought you'd enjoy spending time with them. But fine, message received. I'll figure something else out. The passive-aggressive response was typical Monica. She'd always been good at making others feel guilty for setting boundaries. But I held firm, and for a few days, things seemed to improve. She took the boys with her when she went out, kept them relatively quiet during work hours, and even cooked dinner one night, though she used every pot and pan I owned and left them all for me to wash. Then came the announcement that changed everything. Great news. Monica burst into my office on a Friday afternoon, ignoring the fact that I was clearly in the middle of coding. I got the job. I pulled off my headphones, trying to switch gears. That's wonderful. When do you start? Monday. It's at that new boutique downtown, the Gilded Lily. Very exclusive. The pay isn't amazing, but the commission potential is huge. So you'll be able to get your own place soon. Her face fell slightly. Well, about that. The hours are a bit unconventional. I'll be working mostly evenings and weekends. That's when the real customers come in. You know, the ones with money to spend. A cold feeling settled in my stomach. What about the boys? I was hoping... you're here anyway, right? Working from home. It would just be a few hours in the evenings, and you wouldn't have to do much. Just make sure they eat dinner and get to bed. Monica, no, absolutely not. You need to find childcare. Do you know how much childcare costs? It would eat up my entire paycheck. Come on, Amanda, just until I can save up enough for a deposit on an apartment. I swear, 2 months max. You said a week. It's already been 2 weeks. I know, but this job is my fresh start. Please, for the boys. She always played that card. For the boys. As if I didn't care about my nephews. As if wanting to maintain my own life and career somehow made me a bad person. 1 month, I heard myself saying, "And you need to contribute to groceries and utilities." Of course, you're the best sister ever. The job started, and with it, my new role as an unpaid nanny. Monica would breeze out the door at 4:30, returning well after midnight. The boys, confused and missing their mother, became increasingly difficult to manage. "I don't want mac and cheese," Alex declared one evening, pushing the bowl away. "Mom always orders pizza on Fridays." "Well, I'm not ordering pizza. This is what we're having." "You're mean," Ben chimed in. "I want Mom." "She's at work." "She's always at work," Alex muttered, and for a moment, I felt a stab of sympathy for him. This wasn't their fault. They were just kids caught in their parents' mess. But sympathy didn't make the situation easier. Every evening followed the same pattern: arguments about dinner, battles over homework, negotiations about bedtime. By the time Monica came home, smelling of expensive perfume and chattering about her customers, I was exhausted. "You should see the women who come in," she'd say, helping herself to whatever I'd made for dinner. Dripping in designer everything, one lady bought 3 handbags without even looking at the price tags. Must be nice, right? Must be nice to come home to a clean house and sleeping kids, I replied one night, unable to keep the edge out of my voice. Monica paused mid-bite. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I'm tired. Monica, I worked all day, then took care of your kids all evening, every evening." "They're hardly kids anymore. Alex is 8, he basically takes care of himself." "He's 8, not 18. And Ben still needs help with everything." "God, I can't do anything right, can I? I'm working my ass off to provide for them, and all you do is complain." "I'm not complaining. I'm stating facts. This arrangement isn't working." She stood up, leaving her half-eaten food on the counter. "You know what? Forget it. I'll figure something else out. Sorry for being such a burden." The guilt trip might have worked once, but I was too tired to engage. I cleaned up the kitchen in silence, listening to her stomp up the stairs. Tomorrow, I told myself. Tomorrow we'd have a real conversation about timelines and expectations. But tomorrow brought its own problems. I woke to find Monica gone and a note on the kitchen counter. Had to go in early for inventory. Boys are still sleeping. Thanks, M. It was Saturday. I'd planned to spend the day catching up on work. Maybe finally organizing my garage. Instead, I was once again on kid duty. By the time Monica returned that evening, I'd reached my limit. "We need to talk," I said, intercepting her before she could disappear upstairs. "Can it wait? I'm exhausted. Saturdays are brutal." "No, it can't wait. You said 2 months maximum. It's been 3 weeks, and I'm already burning out. You need to find alternative childcare. With what money? Amanda, do you think I'm living here for fun? I'm saving every penny for a deposit. Then maybe you need to ask Craig for help, or our parents. Craig, she laughed bitterly. He's already paying the minimum child support, and he makes it clear every month what an imposition it is. And Mom and Dad, they're on a fixed income. They can't help. What about before and after school programs? Have you looked into those? The waiting lists are months long, and they're expensive. Every solution I proposed, she had a reason why it wouldn't work. The conversation went in circles until we were both frustrated and angry. Finally, Monica played her trump card. Fine. If we're such a burden, we'll leave, tonight. I'll pack up the boys, and we'll go. I'm sure we can find a shelter that has space. Monica, don't be dramatic. I'm not being dramatic. You've made it clear we're not welcome here. So, we'll go. She started toward the stairs, and I caught her arm. Stop. You know I'm not kicking you out. I'm just asking for some consideration. I am being considerate. I'm working, aren't I? I'm trying to get us out of your hair as fast as possible. What more do you want from me? What I wanted was my life back. My quiet mornings, my productive work days, my peaceful evenings. But saying that out loud would make me the villain in this story, and Monica knew it. Just try to find a solution, please. She nodded, but I could see in her eyes that nothing would change, and nothing did. The days blurred together in an exhausting routine. Work, kids, cleanup, collapse into bed, repeat. My performance at work began to suffer. I missed deadlines, showed up to meetings looking haggard, lost focus during important presentations. Amanda, is everything okay? My manager, David, asked during our one-on-one, you don't seem like yourself lately. Just some family stuff. It's temporary. If you need to take some time off. No, I'm fine, really. But I wasn't fine. I was drowning. And Monica either didn't notice or didn't care. She'd developed a routine of her own work. After work drinks with colleagues, stumble home after midnight, sleep until noon. Repeat. Weekends were for networking events that seemed to involve a lot of champagne and very little networking. The breaking point came on a Thursday evening in week 5. I was on a critical client call, troubleshooting a security breach in their system. It was the kind of problem that required total focus, diving deep into code to trace the vulnerability. Monica was supposed to be home by 6. It was now 7:30, and she wasn't answering her phone. Ben, please, I said for the 10th time, muting my microphone. I need you to play quietly. But I'm hungry. There are snacks in the pantry. I don't want snacks, I want dinner. Alex was no help, sulking on the couch and complaining that his tablet was dead and he couldn't find the charger. I unmuted to answer a technical question, trying to sound professional while Ben tugged on my arm. Aunt Manda, I'm hungry. I'm sorry. I told the client, can you repeat that? That's when it happened. Ben, frustrated at being ignored, tried to climb onto my lap. His foot caught the power cord of my laptop, sending it crashing to the floor. The screen went black. The call disconnected. Hours of work gone. No, no, no. I scrambled for the laptop, pressing the power button frantically. Nothing. Ben started crying. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. The front door opened and Monica walked in, laughing at something on her phone. She took in the scene, me on the floor with the laptop, Ben in tears, and her expression shifted to annoyance. What's going on? Why is Ben crying? Where were you? I stood up, laptop clutched in my hands. You were supposed to be home 2 hours ago. I texted you. Didn't you see we had a team building thing? I couldn't exactly leave. I was on a critical call. Ben knocked my laptop off the desk. I've lost hours of work. She scooped up Ben, who buried his face in her shoulder. It was an accident. You don't have to make such a big deal about it. A big deal, Monica. This is my job. And this is my son. Children have accidents. If you can't handle that, maybe you shouldn't have agreed to help. The gaslighting was so smooth, so practiced. Suddenly, I was the bad guy for being upset about my destroyed laptop and lost work. I watched her comfort Ben, whispering that Aunt Amanda was just cranky and it wasn't his fault. "We need to talk," I said quietly. "After the boys are in bed?" "Sure, whatever." But when the boys were finally asleep, Monica had disappeared into her room, door locked, music playing just loud enough to discourage conversation. I spent the night trying to recover my work, emailing apologies to the client, and wondering how my life had spiraled so far out of control. The next morning, I cornered her in the kitchen. "This isn't working." "Good morning to you too," she said, not looking up from her phone. "I'm serious. Monica, you need to find another place to live." That got her attention. "Excuse me?" "You said 2 months maximum. It's been over a month, and things are getting worse, not better. I'll give you 30 days to find alternative arrangements." "You're evicting us, your own family." "I'm not evicting you. I'm setting a reasonable timeline for you to find your own place." "With what money do you know what apartments cost around here?" "Then maybe you need to look farther out, or find a roommate situation, or ask Craig for more support. Those aren't my problems to solve." Her face went cold. "I see. So that's how it is. Fine." Message received, loud and clear. She grabbed her coffee and headed upstairs, leaving me with the sinking feeling that I'd just triggered something irreversible. But what choice did I have? I couldn't continue living like this, watching my career and sanity slip away while Monica treated my home like a free hotel with childcare included. That evening, she was sickeningly sweet. She came home on time, cooked dinner, helped the boys with homework, even cleaned the kitchen afterward. The transformation was so complete it made me nervous. "I've been thinking about what you said," she told me after the boys were in bed. "You're right, we've overstayed our welcome. I'll start looking for places this weekend." "Thank you, I appreciate that. And Amanda, I'm sorry. For everything. I know I haven't been the best sister or house guest. The divorce it messed me up more than I realized." For a moment, I felt a flutter of hope. Maybe we could end this on good terms. Maybe Monica was finally taking responsibility. I should have known better. The accident happened the following Tuesday. I was in my office, on another important call with the same client I'd disappointed the week before. I'd managed to recover most of the lost work and was walking them through the security patches when I heard the crash. Then the scream. I muted the call and ran to the living room. Alex was on the floor, holding his head, blood seeping between his fingers. The coffee table was askew, one corner dark with what looked like more blood. "Oh my God, what happened?" Ben was crying in the corner. We were playing Power Rangers, and Alex fell. I grabbed a dish towel, pressing it to Alex's head while trying to see how bad the cut was. It was bleeding a lot, but head wounds always did. The gash didn't look deep, maybe an inch long, right at his hairline. "It's okay, buddy. You're okay. Let me see." "It hurts," Alex wailed. "I know. Keep pressure on it. Ben, go get me the first aid kit from the bathroom." I managed to clean the wound and butterfly bandage it closed. The bleeding stopped, and Alex calmed down once I gave him some children's Tylenol and an ice pack. By the time Monica came home, he was on the couch watching cartoons, looking pale but okay. "What the hell happened?" She rushed to Alex, examining his bandage. I explained about the fall, how I'd treated it, that it looked worse than it was. "And where were you when this happened?" "In my office, on a call." "So you weren't supervising them?" "Monica, they were playing in the living room. I can't watch them every second." She gathered Alex into her arms. "My poor baby. Don't worry. Mommy's here now." "Mom, I'm fine," Alex said, squirming away. "It doesn't even hurt anymore." But Monica had that look in her eyes, the one I remembered from childhood when she was planning something. She took pictures of Alex's injury, the coffee table, even the bloody towel I'd thrown in the sink. "What are you doing?" "Documenting, in case there are complications." "Complications, Monica. It's a small cut. Head injuries can be serious. Maybe we should go to the ER." He doesn't need the ER. He needs to be more careful when he's playing. Are you seriously blaming him? He's 8 years old. I'm not blaming anyone. Accidents happen. She gave me a long look, then ushered the boys upstairs. I heard her on the phone later, voice low and urgent, but couldn't make out the words. The uneasy feeling from before intensified. Something was shifting, and I didn't like the direction. Over the next few days, Monica's behavior became increasingly strange. She documented everything obsessively, taking pictures of the boys at odd moments, asking leading questions that she recorded on her phone. Ben, tell Mommy again about how Aunt Amanda yells at you. I don't yell at them, I interjected. I'm not talking to you, she snapped, then turned back to Ben with a sweet smile. Go ahead, baby. She told us to be quiet when she's working. And how did that make you feel? Ben looked confused. I don't know. Did it make you feel scared? Monica, stop it. She whirled on me. I'm trying to understand the environment my children have been living in. Is that a problem? The environment you mean my home that I've opened to you for free. Nothing's free with you, is it? Everything comes with conditions and rules and criticism. The boys were watching us with wide eyes. I bit back my response, not wanting to fight in front of them. But Monica wasn't done. Over the following days, she ramped up her campaign. Suddenly, she was the perfect mother, attentive and loving, while painting me as some sort of tyrant who resented their presence. Alex, did Aunt Amanda give you lunch today? Yeah, PB&J. Just a sandwich, nothing else. And apple slices and cookies. And what did she eat? I don't know, salad. She made herself a nice salad but gave you a plain sandwich. I like PB&J, Alex protested, but Monica had already moved on to her next leading question. I confronted her that evening. What are you doing? What do you mean? The questions, the recordings, the pictures. What's your game? Monica. Game, I'm protecting my children. From me, I've done nothing but help you. Have you? Or have you been making us feel unwelcome from day one? Making my kids feel like burdens. Neglecting them while you focus on your precious work. Are you insane? I've put my life on hold for you. No one asked you to do that. We could have managed fine without your charity. Then manage leave, find somewhere else to live. Oh, I plan to. But first, I'm going to make sure my children are compensated for the trauma they've endured here. Trauma? What trauma? She pulled out her phone, scrolling through photos. Unsafe living conditions. That coffee table with sharp corners where Alex was injured due to lack of supervision. The stairs without baby gates. The cleaning supplies under the sink within reach. Not to mention the emotional neglect. I stared at her in disbelief. You're documenting things to make me look neglectful. Your kids are 8 and 5. They don't need baby gates. A good lawyer might disagree. Lawyer, what are you talking about? She smiled, and it was the coldest thing I'd ever seen. I'm talking about protecting my interests, our interests. You want us gone, fine, but it's going to cost you. Cost me, I've already spent thousands on food, utilities, everything you've needed. Consider it rent, but the damage to my children, the emotional distress of being unwanted in what was supposed to be a safe space that's worth more than groceries. I laughed, but it was hollow. You're going to sue me for what being a good aunt? For negligence resulting in injury, for emotional abuse, for creating a hostile environment for children. You're delusional. Am I? Let's see what Child Protective Services thinks when they see the documentation. The injury, the unsafe conditions, the way you've been treating us. My blood ran cold. You wouldn't. Wouldn't I? You're trying to make us homeless. What choice do I have? I gave you 30 days. That's completely reasonable. Nothing about this situation is reasonable, but don't worry. I have a solution. Here it came. The real reason for all the theatrics. $60,000. That's what I need to secure proper housing for my children and compensate for the trauma they've endured. $60,000? Are you out of your mind? That's a bargain, considering what a lawsuit would cost you. Not to mention what it would do to your precious career when word gets out that you endangered children in your care. I didn't endanger anyone. Tell that to Alex's scar. Tell that to the hours of recordings I have of the boys talking about how mean Aunt Amanda is, how she doesn't want them there, how she makes them feel bad for existing. Those are lies you coached them. Prove it. And there was the trap. How could I prove that she'd manipulated her own children, that she'd twisted innocent situations into something sinister? She'd been building this case for days, maybe weeks. And I'd been too overwhelmed to see it coming. Get out, I said quietly. Pack your things and get out of my house. Gladly. As soon as you write the check. Otherwise, I'll be calling my lawyer in the morning, and CPS, and maybe your employer, just to give them a heads up about the kind of person they have working for them. She walked away, leaving me standing in my own kitchen, shaking with rage and disbelief. My own sister was extorting me, using her children as weapons. And the worst part, she might actually get away with it. I spent that night pacing, trying to think of solutions. I could call her bluff. But what if she actually followed through? Even false accusations could destroy my reputation. The tech industry was small, gossip traveled fast, and CPS investigations, even unfounded ones, were no joke. But $60,000, that was my entire emergency fund, and then some. Money I'd saved for years, meant for my future, not to line Monica's pockets. By morning, I'd made my decision, but first, I needed to prepare. I called in sick to work, something I rarely did. Then I methodically went through my house, room by room. In my office, hidden among the mess of cables and equipment, were several small devices most people wouldn't recognize. Part of the smart home security system I'd installed. Not just cameras in the common areas, but audio recording capabilities built into the very infrastructure of the house. I'd never intended to spy on anyone. The system was designed to integrate with voice commands, to learn patterns and optimize the home environment, but it also recorded everything, every conversation, every interaction, stored securely in the cloud with timestamps and room locations. My hands shook as I pulled up the interface on my computer. Everything was there, date-stamped, time-stamped, the real conversations, not Monica's edited versions. I found the recording from the night Ben knocked over my laptop. Monica's text was there in my phone, sent 2 minutes after the client call started when she knew I couldn't respond. Running late, team thing, sorry. But the audio from her phone call to a friend an hour earlier told a different story. Yeah, drinks at that new wine bar. Amanda's got the kids. She won't mind. She needs to learn what real parenting is like anyway. There was the coffee table incident. The security camera in the living room showed everything. The boys playing, getting increasingly rowdy. Me calling out from my office twice to settle down. The fall, clearly accidental. Alex tripping over Ben's toy. My immediate response, professional and caring. But the real gold was Monica's coaching sessions. Every manipulative question, every leading prompt, every time she put words in her children's mouths. All recorded, all saved. Remember, Ben, when mean Aunt Amanda wouldn't let you have ice cream for dinner, tell Mommy how that made you feel. Sad. Very sad and scared maybe because she yelled. She didn't yell. Are you sure sometimes when grown-ups are loud, it feels like yelling? I guess. So Aunt Amanda yelled and scared you. Got it. I had it all. Hours of it. Monica building her false narrative piece by piece, never knowing that the house itself was listening. But I needed more than just defensive evidence. I needed to understand exactly what I was dealing with. So I did something I'm not proud of. I went into the guest room while Monica was in the shower and looked through her things. What I found made my stomach turn. Printed emails between Monica and someone named Derek. Apparently a legal consultant she'd met at the bar. Not a real lawyer, but someone who knew enough to be dangerous. The emails outlined the whole plan. How to document injuries and neglect. How to coach the children without being too obvious. How much money to demand. $60K should do it. Derek had written. Enough to be serious, but not so much that she lawyers up. Most people will pay to make this go away. There were other emails, too. Monica hadn't just lost her house in the divorce. She'd lost it because she'd remortgaged it twice without telling Craig, spending the money on God knows what. She had credit card debt in the 5 figures. Her job at the boutique. She'd been fired after 2 weeks for drinking on shift. The networking events were just her bar hopping, hoping to find another Mark. And I was the Mark, her own sister. I took pictures of everything with my phone, then put it all back exactly as I'd found it. By the time Monica emerged from the bathroom, I was back in my office, uploading the relevant recordings to multiple cloud drives and sending copies to my personal email. That evening, Monica presented me with her settlement offer. She'd actually printed up an official-looking document, probably with Derek's help. "I've thought about it, and I want to be fair," she said, sliding the papers across the kitchen counter. "$60,000 might be excessive. I'll accept $45,000. Plus you cover our moving expenses and first month's rent on a new place. Call it $50,000 total." I looked at the document without touching it. "And if I don't?" "Then tomorrow morning I file reports with CPS and your employer. I'll also be forced to pursue civil litigation for the injuries and trauma inflicted on my children while under your care." Trauma you invented. Trauma you caused through your negligence and hostile behavior. But hey, maybe a judge will see it your way. Want to risk it? I stood up slowly. "I need time to think about it." "You have until 9 a.m. tomorrow. After that, I make the calls." That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I compiled everything. The recordings, the emails, the timeline of events. I created a comprehensive file that told the real story. Then I made my own calls. First, to my lawyer, Elizabeth Chen, who I'd used for the house closing. She listened to the whole story, reviewed the evidence I sent her, and gave me clear advice. "You have an airtight defense against any accusations she might make," Elizabeth said. "More than that, you have grounds for charges against her: extortion, fraud, child endangerment by coaching them to lie. This is serious criminal behavior." "What about CPS?" "With this evidence, they'll see right through her. If anything, they might investigate her for psychological abuse of the children." And my employer? I'd get ahead of it, talk to HR first thing in the morning, explain the situation, provide the evidence. Any reasonable company will support you. My second call was harder. My parents. It was late, but this couldn't wait. "Amanda, what's wrong?" My mother's voice was immediately concerned. "Mom, I need you and Dad to come to my house tomorrow morning. Early. It's about Monica." "Is she okay? Are the boys okay?" "They're fine, but something's happened, and I need you both here when I confront her about it." "Confront her, Amanda. What's going on?" "I'll explain everything tomorrow. Just please, be here by 8:30. The night crawled by. I sat in my office, watching the security feeds, waiting to see if Monica would try anything else. But she spent the evening on her phone, probably planning how to spend my money. My parents arrived at 8:20, looking worried and confused. I met them at the door with coffee and the full story. "That's impossible," my mother said when I finished. "Monica would never. She's difficult sometimes. Yes, but extortion." I showed them the emails, played them select recordings, watched their faces change from disbelief to horror to rage. That manipulative little... My father, who never swore, bit off the word. Using her own children like that. "What are you going to do?" Mom asked. "Give her one chance to leave quietly. If she refuses, I involve the police." "We're staying," Dad said firmly. "She's our daughter too, and we need to see this." At exactly 9 a.m., Monica came downstairs with the boys, dressed like she was going to a business meeting. The boys looked confused at seeing their grandparents. Grandma, Grandpa, Ben ran to them, and my heart ached for what was about to happen. "Boys, why don't you go play in the backyard?" I suggested. "The adults need to talk." "But we haven't had breakfast," Alex protested. "I'll make pancakes in a bit," Mom promised. "Go on now." Once they were outside, Monica turned to me with a smile. "So, do you have my check?" I have something better, I said, pulling out my laptop. I have the truth. Her smile faltered. What are you talking about? I hit play on the first recording. Her voice filled the room, coaching Ben to lie about me. Her face went white. What is this? My house has a comprehensive security system. Everything's recorded, every conversation, every lie, every manipulation. You recorded me without my consent. In my own home, perfectly legal. But you know what's not legal? Extortion, fraud, child endangerment. I didn't endanger anyone. You coached your children to lie to authorities. You planned to file false reports. You tried to extort $50,000 from me. I have it all documented. She looked at our parents for support, but found only disgust on their faces. Monica, Mom said quietly, how could you? She's lying. She's making this up. I played another recording, then another. The emails to Derek. The timeline of her lies. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. Here's what's going to happen, I said when the last recording ended. You're going to pack your things and leave. Today. You're going to take your children and go, and you're never going to contact me again. No money, no threats, nothing. You can't just throw us out. Yes, I can, and I will. The alternative is I turn all of this over to the police and CPS. Your choice. Where are we supposed to go? That's not my problem. You should have thought of that before you tried to destroy my life. She turned to our parents again. Mom, Dad, please, I made a mistake, but I'm desperate. The divorce, losing the house. You lost the house because you remortgaged it behind Craig's back. I interrupted. Yeah, I found those documents too. We'll help you find somewhere to stay, Dad said quietly. But not here. Not after this. You're all against me, Monica spat. Fine, but don't think this is over. Actually, it is, Elizabeth said, entering from the hallway where she'd been waiting. I'm Ms. Chen, Amanda's attorney. I have here a cease and desist order. If you contact my client again, if you make any false reports, if you so much as drive past this house, we'll pursue criminal charges. The evidence is comprehensive and damning. Monica looked around the room, realizing she was truly beaten. I need time to pack. You have 2 hours, I said. Elizabeth and I will be supervising to ensure nothing goes missing. The next 2 hours were tense but quiet. Monica packed with sharp, angry movements while Elizabeth and I watched. The boys, sensing the tension, were subdued. They didn't understand why they were leaving so suddenly, why everyone seemed so upset. Can't we stay, Mom? Alex asked at one point. I like my room here. No, Monica said shortly. Aunt Amanda doesn't want us here. I bit my tongue. The boys didn't need to know the truth about their mother. Not yet. Maybe not ever. That would be for Monica to explain someday, if she ever developed a conscience. My parents took the boys to the park while Monica loaded the van. When everything was packed, she stood at the door, her face a mask of fury. You'll regret this, she said quietly. Family is supposed to stick together. Family isn't supposed to extort each other, I replied. Family isn't supposed to use children as weapons. You did this, Monica. All of it. She left without another word. I watched the van disappear around the corner, then went inside and locked the door. Elizabeth put a hand on my shoulder. You did the right thing. It's hard now, but you protected yourself. I know. I never thought she'd go this far. People in desperate situations sometimes do desperate things, but that doesn't excuse it. Are you going to be okay? Yeah, I think so. I just need some time to process everything. After Elizabeth left, my parents returned. We sat in my too quiet living room, the absence of the boys' energy palpable. I'm sorry, Mom said finally. We should have seen this coming. Monica's always been selfish, Dad finished. We made excuses because she's our daughter, but she's always been willing to hurt others to get what she wants. What's going to happen to the boys? I asked. We'll keep an eye on them, Mom promised. Maybe Craig needs to know what happened, for their sake. I nodded. suddenly exhausted. It was barely noon, but I felt like I'd lived a week in the last few hours. My house was mine again. My life was mine again. But the victory felt hollow. Over the next few weeks, I slowly reclaimed my space. The toys disappeared from the living room. The lavender smell faded. My work performance improved. Life returned to its quiet rhythm. I heard through my parents that Monica had moved in with Derek, the legal consultant. How long that would last was anyone's guess. The boys were spending more time with Craig, who'd been horrified to learn about Monica's behavior. He was pursuing full custody, using my evidence to support his case. 3 months later, I got a text from an unknown number. "I'm sorry. You were right about everything. I stared at it for a long time, then deleted it without responding. Some bridges, once burned, couldn't be rebuilt. Some trust, once broken, couldn't be restored. But I'd learned something valuable through the whole ordeal. Being family doesn't mean being a doormat. Love doesn't require endless sacrifice. And sometimes, the best thing you can do for everyone involved is to say no. My house is quiet again. My life is my own. And while I miss the boys and hope they're okay, I know I made the right choice." Monica wanted to use my kindness as weakness, my love as leverage. She learned too late that even the most patient person has limits. The security system is still active, still recording. Not because I expect trouble, but because I've learned that sometimes the people who should protect you are the ones you need protection from. It's a sad truth, but a necessary one. I still work from home, still enjoy my routines and my peace. But now I'm more careful about who I let into my space, both physical and emotional. Trust is earned, not assumed, and family. Well, family is what you make it. The people who support you, who respect you, who see your kindness as a gift rather than an opportunity. Monica taught me that. In trying to destroy my life, she actually made it stronger. Because now I know my worth, I know my boundaries. And I know that standing up for yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. The house is quiet, the work is fulfilling, the future is mine to shape. And that's more than enough.